is so easy to feel overwhelmed and doubt our own abilities. But what if I told you that I know, deep down inside you, there is that untapped potential. And that is exactly what we're gonna be looking into in today's video. I want you guys to overcome that self-doubt. And I know this happens a lot when I know my channel is all about making money online and how to start a YouTube channel. And we can see this a lot within the content creation world. This just feeling of overwhelming self-doubt. You can be thinking, if I'm putting all of this work into creating content on YouTube, who is going to watch my content? And this video isn't just tailored for people who are doing YouTube. I just want it to be for everybody. Everybody that is having feelings of self-doubt, whether it's they feel like they're not good enough for a job, or they feel like they're not gonna make it within their YouTube career. Overcoming self-doubt is essential when it comes to personal growth. So let's talk about something that is the opposite of self-doubt, which is going to be self-confidence. And self-confidence, I like to think of it as a superpower that just kind of gets us going. Because confidence is the belief of our own abilities. So let's say I have a class presentation and I'm getting up in front of the class and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know my lines, I know exactly what I'm gonna say, I'm proud of the presentation, I'm proud of my delivery that I've practiced. This would be a great example of self-confidence. But without self-confidence, we find ourselves falling into that category of self-doubt. And sometimes when we're doubting ourselves, we are overthinking and we're playing scenarios over and over in our head. And in all reality, this just holds us back from making it to the big picture. So building self-confidence is essential when it comes to unlocking new doors for our future. And I know we have all been there, that moment of self-doubt. Maybe you're feeling it right now, but there's these voices in our head just telling us we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, this person's better than me, just comparing yourself to other people, and it is not good. We don't want to be in that mindset. And I know that this mindset can sometimes be inevitable, so I'm going to be talking about in this video how we can overcome that feeling if we somehow were feeling it. Today I want to get into the practical steps on how we can reach this self-confidence and leave that self-doubt behind. So get ready because we're going to go on a little bit of a journey and harness our self-powers and our self-confidence. Now the first thing I want you to do when you are feeling these feelings of self-doubt, I don't want you to push them away. I want you to recognize them. Because once we recognize something and we process it, we're more likely to move on and get over it. And of course, I know easier said than done, right? But sometimes we are practicing self-doubt even when we aren't aware of it. We could be having a conversation with our friend and then all of a sudden we start talking about, oh, like my hair doesn't look good or something. And you're just trying to seek validation from other people. And having a mindset like this and having a reoccurring pattern where it's just popping up into your mind and it's reflecting on other people as well, this is where you get sucked back into the hole of self-doubt. Now, right now, I want you to take a moment. Let's take a moment. And we're going to reflect on our past. Reflect on our most recent feeling of self-doubt. If you can remember it, think about what was it? What was making you feel this way? Because acknowledging these moments and better understanding them can lead us to that feeling of overcoming it. Because when we doubt ourselves, we truly just limit ourselves and our ability to do better in the future. And for example, I'm going to go back to the class presentation example. I've had times in my past where I'm just doubting myself over and over before this presentation to the point where it really just affects how I presented the presentation, and it negatively affected me. Self-doubting has never done me any good now that I'm thinking about it. And this was just a few months ago, this class presentation that I had, and I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do good, like I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna stutter my words. And when I kept thinking this over and over, then that reflected in my performance. And this has also happened in other aspects of my life as well. I keep thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to audition for this dance team or something like that. And then I can find this feeling just keeping me stuck inside of my comfort zone and not exploring outside of it at all. But by sitting down and thinking about all of these different times where you have felt this feeling of self-doubt and this lack of confidence, you can start to recognize and reflect on what exactly makes you feel this way? Okay, now so far I've just gone on and on about a little bit of self-doubt, what it is, where it can come from. We're sort of reflecting on that, thinking about that. But next I want to talk about building your self-confidence, because cultivating a positive self-image can really get you far in life. And one of the most effective ways to enhance your self-esteem is going to be setting achievable goals. You not only want these goals to be achievable, but you also want them to be a little bit challenging as well. So let's say one of your aspirations is to become a YouTuber. You want to grow a faceless YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Instead of thinking to yourself, well, I don't know how to grow this channel, I don't know what I want this channel to be about, I don't know how to make these videos, break it down into smaller, more manageable tasks than thinking, oh my gosh, I want to have 1 million subscribers, that's my only goal in life. Break it down a little bit. Have your first goal be 50 subscribers and then 100 subscribers. And always make sure to celebrate milestones along the way. Celebrating milestones for me is something that is very, very important, because then you're able to gain this momentum and motivation to get to your next goal. Another thing that is very helpful when it comes to reaching your goals is visualizing. And we actually did this when I was on dance team in high school. Before we would go on and dance, we would all sit down as a team and hold hands and close our eyes. And then the coaches would play our dance routines music, and we would start to visualize us doing that dance and sticking every move. And for me, this was very helpful in building that sense of confidence before you go out on stage. So maybe you're not on dance team and your goal is something completely different. You can still sit down and visualize yourself in that position of achievement. And when you do this, you're able to embody the most confident version of yourself. Think of it as kind of rewiring your brain to the positive. Now, another thing that is very important when it comes to reaching confidence is self-compassion. You need to have compassion for yourself. You need to have understanding for yourself. Please, please, please treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Because in all honesty, you're not going to succeed 100% of the time. There are going to be setbacks, and there are going to be times where you feel like, I'm not gonna make it through. And instead of criticizing yourself after something like a school presentation that didn't go to plan, you need to offer yourself words of encouragement and support here. So we have visualizing techniques, and we also have practicing self-compassion, just being kind to ourselves. Give ourselves a hug. Do you guys remember that in elementary school when they'd be like, give yourself a hug? A pat on the back. Oh my gosh, that's like an unlocked memory right there. They're like, pat yourself on the back. You guys did good. See, they taught us that in school for a reason. Next, I want to dive into these root causes of your self-doubt that is holding you back from making the achievements that you want to be making. And one way we can do this is just identifying our negative thoughts and identifying when we are talking bad about ourselves. Because please, please, please do not feed into these negative thoughts. And feeding into negative thoughts is something that I've fallen victim to a lot. And something that I really want you all to focus on is taking the word doubt. Okay, we have the word doubt, right? And we're going to replace it with belief. So instead of doubting ourselves, we want to believe in ourselves. And this is where we are going to shift our inner dialogue to positive thinking. And like I was saying earlier, one way we could do this is by visualizing, sitting down and thinking about ourselves doing great. But something that has helped me come over a lack of confidence would be listening to stories that other people have to tell. Because hearing the tales of individuals that are maybe going through the same struggle as us and how they overcame that struggle, it can be really helpful because we can find ourselves relating to those stories and then putting ourselves in their shoes and then thinking, well, what did they do in their story that I can incorporate into my story? Now, when we begin to recognize our negative thoughts, we begin to have this sense of self-awareness. And this is where we really acknowledge these negative thoughts that we're having. And by becoming aware, we are able to tune into these negative thoughts and overall be able to change them. And you might not be able to completely change your negative thoughts, but one thing that has always helped me is just pretending. And I mean, a lot of the time when we see somebody that's very confident in what they're doing, Who knows? That person could be the most nervous person on the planet. You never know. So when I'm nervous for something, I just pretend I'm the most confident person in the world, and I put myself out there and I'm like, I'm not scared, even though maybe deep down I am scared. Also, seeking feedback from your peers or other people your age or your parents or elders, that can be very helpful. Another thing that I personally do is I journal. Whenever I've had this super embarrassing moment happen to me that I never want to think about again, I bring up my journal and I write that all down, I shut it, and I just don't think about it. And for me, journaling is sort of an outlet. So if you're having these feelings of self-doubt, maybe get out a journal and write it all down. And that way, it's out of your system, and then start to replace these negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And I know a lot of what I'm saying, I said it earlier, but a lot of what I'm saying is easier said than done. And next, we're going to talk about embracing your vulnerability. And being vulnerable can truly unleash this inner power within us. But being vulnerable is the gateway to being authentic. And it's just truly the courage to show up as yourself. You show up as yourself and you embrace your flaws and you don't feel embarrassed about it. You're vulnerable. And when you show up vulnerable, you open yourself to deeper connections with individuals. And not only just deeper connections with individuals, but deeper connections with yourself as well. You're able to understand yourself better. When we embrace our vulnerability, we open a space for personal growth. Sharing our different fears and insecurities can find ourselves in a place of belonging. And for example, in today's digital age, we see that a lot of the time online. We see creators coming online and being vulnerable and sharing personal stories of growth and failure, and it can be very inspiring to others. And that is why I encourage all of you to be vulnerable. When we do this, we are able to cultivate that sense of empathy for others while also cultivating resilience in challenges in our future. And through this vulnerability, we are able to find our true potential and the power that we have. And embracing this vulnerability takes some immense courage and a lot of confidence as well. Okay, so let's take a little recap of what we've talked about so far. We've talked about how to boost this sense of self-confidence, and some of these strategies would include setting practical goals for ourselves, practicing different visualization techniques, and embracing self-compassion and understanding who we are as an individual. We've also talked about the importance of reflecting on our feelings. And now this is where we need to start taking some action, and we need to start taking control of our brains and that negative talk. We want it out. Get that negative talk out of here. But what can we truly do today? I wish I could tell you, if you are having these feelings of self-doubt and self-worry, I wish I could just make them go away within the snap of my finger. But in all honesty, that can't work all the time. So we need to think about what we can do today. What can we do today, right now? And I would start by practicing this positive self-talk, even if it's just a little bit day by day. Something that can happen with me is I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I don't like how my hair looks, I don't like how my makeup looks today, like I just don't look good today. But recently I've started changing that mindset. I look into the mirror now and I think to myself, wow, like I have really pretty eyes, or wow, my outfit looks really good today. But recently I've started to look in the mirror, and instead of thinking, ugh, my hair looks terrible, I start thinking, oh my gosh, my hair looks so good. It's starting to grow more like I wanted. Or, oh my gosh, my eyes look so pretty today. The next thing I want you to do is set an achievable goal. You're not going to gain all of the knowledge of math within just the snap of a finger, right? We can start by setting these small tasks that are achievable. So maybe sit down for an hour every night and start studying. And then before you take this test or whatever goal you're trying to reach, make sure to visualize this success. Feel this feeling of accomplishment before you go and accomplish something, because then you go into it with self-confidence. And then always make sure to show compassion for yourself. Empathy and understanding not only for others, but you need this empathy and understanding for yourself as well. Don't forget about yourself. Please don't forget to take care of yourself. And today I want you to take at least one of these tools that you have learned and apply it to your daily life. Start today. And always remember, building self-confidence is a journey, not a destination. It requires dedication, self-awareness, and willingness to truly step out of your comfort zone. Always remember to believe in yourself and take action as soon as you can, even if it's just the smallest step. Now, I know my YouTube channel talks about YouTube a lot because that is the niche of my channel, but I love to throw in these little inspirational videos once in a while. And this is only my second inspirational video that I've made. I made one a little bit ago about how to be successful. And I do this a lot for my viewers because a lot of my viewers want to start YouTube channels or want to start online businesses. So this motivation, in my opinion, is essential. And like I was saying earlier, if you are interested in starting a YouTube channel, make sure to click on this video right here, and don't forget to use my strategies that I talked about in this video while you go on your YouTube journey. So make sure to click on it. You will get a ton of value right here. Whoop whoop. Bye.